All right, what is going on? Darian here. Welcome to episode 2 of Asset Creators. Really excited about today's episode for one main reason, because I used to make this mistake a lot, especially early on in my journey. And so, as you can see by the title, we're going to be talking about why cold outreach is ruining your business. And it's a bit of a controversial topic. Some people swear by it, some people hate it. We're going to jump into that today, and it's going to be awesome. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, like I just mentioned, cold outreach is ruining your business. Today, we're going to talk about, and we're going to start with talking about why it hurts you more than it helps you. And I want to open up with a little story and just a little honesty that I used to do cold outreach until I found Dan Kennedy's magnetic marketing. If you're not familiar with Dan Kennedy, I highly suggest you look into him, his stuff. Absolute genius when it comes to marketing. But I was doing cold outreach, especially early on in my journey, right? I was trying to figure out how to get clients, what's the best way, what's the best way to send a perfect script, and, connecting and pitching and just sending cold emails. I was doing it all to little to no success, okay? Now, I know there might be some, lead gen experts watching this, some cold outreach gurus, and being like, oh, you just were doing it wrong, your scripts suck. Could be true. But I was tweaking and refining for over like a year and a half, really trying to improve my messaging and taking courses and all that stuff on it. I really do feel like it's just not an effective way, especially nowadays. Maybe 2015, 2018, something like that, probably killed. But now I think the market's just way too sophisticated for that, and they're getting flooded. So I did used to do it, so I'm not sitting here saying that, from some pedestal or something. Like, I really did used to do it. But that course from Dan Kennedy and the book absolutely changed the way that I do business, because he talks about magnetizing people coming to you and how it changes the positioning of the relationship, how it changes their perception of you and your status, right? Like, they found you, they came to you, versus you connecting, pitching them, trying to get them on a call, and then you showing up on the call and being like, so why'd you decide to get on the call today? It's like, you pitched me. So really, really cool resource. Encourage you to go check that out. But that was sort of my biggest moment and my biggest shift in the way I do marketing, was just understanding this whole dynamic between cold, they don't know you, you're a stranger, and you're trying to sell them something, into them becoming warm to you, building relationships and trust with you over time. And I'm going to talk about how to do that, everything in this video. But I just wanted to start with that, saying I did used to do it, and then found that resource from Dan Kennedy, changed everything for me. So a couple of reasons why cold outreach hurts you more than it helps you is it burns potential leads, okay? You're just burning through leads, especially if you're just pitching them right away, especially like on LinkedIn or something like that. If you're connecting with someone and trying to sell them right away, you're just going to burn those people. Next is it destroys your positioning, because once again, you're coming to them. You're in no authority position to try to tell them or dictate rules or way that they need to act, because once again, you came to them, okay? There's other ways it destroys your positioning. Pretty much all of this destroys your positioning, right? Because it implies that you're not in demand. So if you're doing so good, if you're crushing it, if your business is so great, why are you cold pitching me, right? That's the question they're going to be asking themselves. Why are you coming to me trying to sell me something? I just met you. I don't know you. If you're doing so good, if you're so great. And then the final one is going to be, of course, it's going to come across as needy and desperate. So all 4 of those are going to hurt you more than they'll help you in any way, more than the 1 or 2 people out of 100 or 1,000 who end up becoming a client. It's just not worth it. So to back this up even further and go a little bit deeper into this, I want to talk about the 95-5 rule by Professor John Dawes and the Ehrenberg Base Institute. Don't know how to pronounce that. I think I did okay. And this was some research that came out in 2021. This was particularly for B2B. And it says that 5% are in market. So 5% of your potential buyers are in the market. So at any given second, there's only 5% of people who are looking for a solution and they're ready to buy, okay? And these are the people who are looking at your landing page, checking out your testimonials, signing up for things that are like paid, or, you know what I mean? They're further down your funnel, okay? 95% of so the rest of the people are out of market. They're not going to buy today. They're not looking to buy, and potentially not even going to buy in the next 6 months or 2 years. So that's some research that you should look into. Really, really powerful. And it really drives home this point, or at least piggybacks on this point of not just ruining your positioning, but also understanding that if you're trying to go chase people and there's only 5% of the people who are ready to buy anyway, you're missing 95% of the rest of the market, right? And then Chet Holmes' buyer's pyramid from 2007 kind of illustrates this even more, is that there's only 3% of the market buying right now, okay? Only 3% are buying. And this was from 2007, some research he did. You can see 6 to 7% are open to it. And so you can just tell. It's an uphill battle if all you're doing is trying to chase people who aren't even looking or ready to buy, okay? Trying to get out of here. There we go. So what do you do with the rest of those people who aren't ready to buy, right? We're going to get into that in a moment. But I want to say, yes, cold does and can work, but the volume and number of potential leads it burns, plus the reasons mentioned above, all of these reasons, okay, they just make it the lowest leverage, lowest form of lead gen you can do. You can do it, but it's going to be such a low return on your investment and your time. And I can say this from experience. And just a side note is the people who are ready, they will self-identify. So here's a DM that I got. So this guy, he became a client of mine. He connected with me and liked one of my pieces of content, okay, on LinkedIn. And so I reached out to him because he came to me first. He connected with me and he liked my post. And I said, hey, thanks for the connection request. How's everything going? And then you can see he says, what do you offer guys like me who need help? So you might be thinking, well, Darian, if I'm forgetting about the 5% or the 3% who are ready, like cold outreach is going to get them. No, they, in my experience and with all my clients, they will self-identify. If your profile is targeted properly, if everything you're doing is relevant to the people you serve, the people who are ready to buy, they're looking for solutions, okay? Understand that. They're out there. They're ready. So they will self-identify. Cool. So what to do instead? Of course, you might be thinking, great, Darian, this is awesome, but what do I do now then? You want to create value assets. So lead magnets is another term for it, right? Of course, in exchange for emails to build trust and relationships for the people who aren't ready to buy now. So remember, 95+% of the market is not ready to buy now. What do you want to do with those people? Well, you want to build trust and relationships with them. So some examples would be a mini course, a 3-day challenge. That was the first lead magnet that I ever created, and it got me my first 1,000 subs. A free community. This is what I do now. I have a free school community, and in there, people come. They can learn from me. I go live in there. We do challenges in there. There's a network of other solopreneurs in there. And so I'm just nurturing and building relationships until these people are ready to buy. They can see my offers in there. They can see what I'm doing. So these are just a few examples of value assets that you can have for the people who aren't ready to buy. And then for your value assets, preferably you want to record them on video for them to hear your voice, see your face, become familiar with you, right? Because it's going to be really important for them to get to feel like they're building that relationship with you. They know you. You're not a stranger. You didn't just connect with them and are trying to sell them something, right? So when you nurture, you build relationships and trust until they're ready to buy. Once again, do not stress about, well, how do I make sales? Like the people who are ready to buy, they will self-identify, okay? The goal with all of this is for them to feel like they either found you. So how many of you have found someone cool on YouTube and you started following them, and then 4 or 5, 6 months later, whatever, sometimes even 2 weeks later, they have an offer or they have a product or whatever, and you join it or you buy it because you feel like you found them, right? You also want them to feel like they have autonomy in the buying decision. So autonomy just means they feel like they're the ones in control making the decision. You're not forcing them into anything. You're not pushing them. You're not chasing them, right? And then you just want them to trust you enough. And that's what you're going to be doing, right? When you're leading with value here, you're giving them a mini course. You're showing them you're an expert, that you're great at what you do. You're helping them, stuff like that. So really, really important. And that's what you want to do instead, right? You want to make sure that you're nurturing, you're capturing that other 95% of the market. And the big takeaway here is super, super simple. is just stop chasing people who are not ready to buy. Nurture them until they're ready to come to you. Make them feel like they have autonomy. They found you. They're coming to you. Your positioning is going to be way more premium. Okay. Everything's going to be going in your favor. The closing is going to be so much more simple, and everything is it's just the best way to market. Ideally, the best way for you to start signing clients. So that was what I really wanted to talk about today, because I think this is such an important topic. And with that, that's the end of episode 2. Thanks so much for being here. The next episode will be live, because I will be able to go live once my Wi-Fi gets fixed tomorrow morning. And with that being said, I'll see you in episode 3.